Thanks a lot for staying with us. This is Politics Tonight, where we dig beyond the headlines. And tonight we're focused on 2023 elections and the future of Nigeria's democracy with the chairman of House of Representatives Committee on Electoral Matters, Balogun. All right, Honorable, I would like you to describe the performance of INEC in that election and how it has handled the post-election issues.
That's what I'm saying. The performance of INEC can be best analyzed by the error in the results vis-a-vis that of the independent observers. What is the result presented by INEC? Then what is the result collated by independent observers? And I said that with the result collated by Yaga Africa, which is one of the most reliable independent observer in Nigeria today, there is just an error of 0.01% margin. That is 100% by any standard. An election as big as that of Nigeria, and you have an error margin of just 0.01. So that is excellent for you. But that doesn't mean that's still the best. In electioneering process, there are some other problems that could actually occur. Those are the areas of vote buying, voters' inducements, intimidation of voters. These are things that are actually about us. It's not about INEC. INEC cannot stop voter inducement. Even during the last election, despite the fact that there was no cash, we have cash problem. In some states, in the east, they say people were sharing wrappers. In some states, they said some people were giving out fertilizers. We have so many things from the reports. And INEC cannot be in every home. INEC can only be present in the polling units. But in the situation where you went and gave people overnight or few days to election, fertilizer, gave them rice, then where do you even draw the line? Even on election day, many people provide food to the to the center, polling unit center, because you know there will not be movement. People want to stay till the end of the counting and collation.
All right.
So at the end of the day, some people bring in food items, drinks. So where do you now draw the line and say this is voter inducement and this is like a normal assistant, community assistant to the people?
All right, Honorable.
So these are no problem of INEC. INEC on his own has scored pass mark excellently by ensuring that there's not much margin between the real results and the INEC results and the one collated by other parties. That
all right.
Is
so, of all the lessons that have been learned
has done well on his own.
So of all the lessons that have been learned from the conduct of the 2023 elections, what would you consider the most significant?
Yes, number one, the increase in the number of polling units have been very, very significant. As a politician, I can tell you, it's the most significant of all. Because before, when all the people that were not able to vote before are able to vote in the last election, despite the fact that the percentage of voters in this election was lower than that of the 2019 election. But we all knew, physically on ground, there were more people outside during this election than that of the 2019. That means something has actually changed. The issue of voting by proxy has actually changed in Nigeria. Politicians, we know, because it affected many of us. We know things have changed. Power is now in the hands of the people. That's why some people lost election in areas we never expected. So that is a very big achievement. It is those who actually went through it that actually know this. So that increase, it gives everybody opportunity now to be involved. Many people that would dare not go to some particular centers now have centers where they can now vote on their own. Voting unit is now very close to your area. Some are as as short as maybe 100 meters, 200 meters to your houses. So once you have that situation where you don't have anything beyond 300 meters to your house, that is going to increase voters, number of voters, because it's going to induce the voters to come out. It's going to reduce apathy, because nobody wants to go to an area where it will be very hostile. So it's very, very important. But moving forward, like I said, we still need to do some adjustments. And these are issues that must be between us. If you want to reduce voters' inducement, we all must agree. INEC cannot do that for us. We all must agree that, yes, nobody will induce voters here. And very soon, it's going to even be at fashion very soon, because people are now making up their minds about election before election day. If you have made up your mind before election day, no form of inducement can change you. And that's why every government now must do something to ensure that you get the confidence of the people. You must have the people behind you. If you have the people behind you, no form of inducement can change them. And if you don't have the people behind you, no more form of inducement too by the city government can change them. So it's something that we are all seeing now. The level of enlightenment is getting higher, but we still have to do more. People need to now go on the technical ground. People must learn what are the rules. You must learn the rules. It's not just that we want to vote. Sometimes they'll tell you, don't vote, don't print outside the box. Make sure you use your small finger to just put it inside the box. Some people will still use their thumb. Yes, it will now cross, and when they now counting and they're avoiding it, they now say this electoral officer is partial. You have been told, use its index finger or any smaller one. Just put it straight. Just little dot is what you need. But some people will still go with their thumb. Then you get to some center, about 50% votes were avoided. And it will become chaotic. Because if we have about 500 votes and you voided about 200, it's going to be chaotic. Nobody will want to listen. They want to give excuses that this thing is close enough. These are technical grounds too, at the unit level. So we must appeal to our people.
But as the chairman, all right, Honorable, but as the chairman of House of Reps Committee on Electoral Matters, what kind of reforms do we need before the next general election?
Yes, even in the issue of internal democracy of the parties, I think we must also dig further to see how can we ensure internal democracy, even at the party level. Yes, at the general election, we now know that 30 days before the election, you must have submitted your party register to INEC. So anybody that is not on that register cannot be a participant in the election on your party logo. So in the primaries too, we must also bring in something similar to that. Probably a month to every primaries, the party register too must be submitted to INEC. So you know who are actually the real voters, who are really party members. And that means everybody must have his own ID card, your party card, like we have the voters card. So on primaries, it will be very easy for people to vote, and knowing that these are all party members, it will become less troublesome than what we are having today. Because when you decide to do any direct primaries in Nigeria today, you can never get results, because so many people just come in. You can hire thugs, hire mercenaries and every sort. But if you have your voters, your party card known to INEC, and you have a register that is accredited by INEC that must be presented on the primaries, that is the beginning of democracy. If I know my party is so big that we will never lose an election, all I need to do is just make sure that I maneuver the primaries and become the candidate of the party. So I have automatically become the winner of the general election. So let's ensure that there is more internal democracy within the parties. So, and again, the removal of compulsory use of the PVC. With the use of the beavers, it's now known that the PVC is not actually compulsory again, because what the beavers just need is you inputting your registration code on the beavers. You don't need to insert anything like we do with the card reader. So it's not actually reading anything. So if you don't have your PVC, instead of us fighting and killing ourselves doing the collection of PVC or wasting so much money reprinting PVC every year, all you need to do is go with your temporary card. Then all they need to know is just the number. Input the number and the name on the beavers. It will bring out your data, and once you snap your picture with it, if it matches with the information on the beavers, you are good to go, and it will be counted that you have already voted or accredited. So it's going to save us so much money if we agree on that the compulsory use of the card PVC is actually moved from the Electoral Act or from the guideline of INEC, because as at present it is there that you must present your PVC. So moving forward, I think that should be expunged, the compulsory use of the card reader.
All right. So we have an off-season governorship election in Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa in November. How will you advise INEC to ensure credible conduct?
Yes, I think Ireland have actually learned a lot of lessons from the last general election. And since these are off-season election, just a few states, and it's going to be easy for them to manage. They have all the equipment on ground. The equipment they use in serving the whole country is there for them to use just in a few states. So they should not have any problem this time around. But we must start on time too. Preparation must start in earnest. And the issue of cash scarcity is no longer there. The issue of petrol scarcity is no longer there. These are the problems they face. We should even thank INEC for going through that election without major crisis, because it was terrible. No fund, no petrol, and they were able to still manage without major crisis. It's commendable. So by the time they are going to that of Kogi, Imo, and others, these problems are no longer there. So they must be able to perform optimally this time around and without any excuse.
So before we go, I would like us to quickly talk about local government elections. And I'm sure you would agree with me that grassroots mobilization is essential for electoral process. But in a country where governors run away from conducting council polls, what impacts do you think this will have on the process?
Well, I think in that area too, there must be, we'll see how we strengthen our legislature to cover that, to ensure that governments, state governments have no hiding places when it comes to conduct of election. And I believe there have been some attempts in ensuring the immediate past President Muhammadu Buhari, I think through some, I think he signed that before he left, to ensure that only states that have their local government chairman in place through a democratically elected system actually paid their subventions. So it's just for us to ensure that we continue in that line. They must be there democratically. And if there are still some bottleneck, I think we all still need to rejiggle the law and see what we can do. Because the local government is the closest to the people. And that's where development should actually start from. And if we don't have democratically elected people at that end of affairs, where they might have the feelings that nobody put us here, we can do what we like. So I think we must, but unfortunately, they have the state electoral commissions and in the local government election. is different from that of INEC. INEC can only conduct local government at the Federal Capital Territory, the local government under the Federal Capital Territory. But those are the states, actually the function of their state electoral commissions. But we still look at it generally. How can we still ensure that they don't get the fund for the local government if they don't have the local government in place? And that will also happen if the money for the local government is actually able to get to the local government directly. So if it's going to the local government directly, and if there's no election at the local government, then all that needs to be done is for the Accountant General of the Federation, if put in place now, as we are proposing, should just stop such allocation from going to such local government. So it's something that we all have to give it a robust approach, and everybody see what we can do about it. But
do you share the sentiment, Honorable, do you share the sentiment that INEC should be allowed to conduct local government elections?
You see, we cannot at the same time be talking about devolution of powers and also talking about centralization of powers. We are talking about how do we even remove police from the federal arrangement to states. And we also want to add INEC to it. What are we doing to ensure that we're getting it right in INEC? Can't we replicate such in all the states? You see, one thing that must be done is when we ensure that the primaries are done in a way that reflects internal democracy. What happens in most of the states is when the governor has the power to nominate who becomes the local government chairman during the primaries. That's what also causes most of these issues. And when you know that it's your governor that will determine your fate at the primaries, then you become jittery, and you abide by whatever he says. So in the electionary process will no longer be a problem when we ensure that we have our laws and everything in place. The LASEC, the state electoral process, what are the problems they're having? How does it differ from that of INEC? Let's look at all this together. We can organize a conference where there must be moderation. And in the state level too, the state legislative arms too can also ensure that they amend where necessary all the necessary laws that will help their own state electoral commission to do better. Let them copy from what we have in INEC and replicate it at their various states. Ensure that you use all the technology that is being used at the federal level. We can only encourage them to do it. This is no time that we'll start forcing issues again.
Thank you so much, Honorable. I've been speaking with the Chairman of House of Representatives Committee on Electoral Matters, Balogun. Tonight, we focused on 2023 elections and the future of Nigeria's democracy. Thank you so much for coming on the program tonight, and thank you for sharing your perspective with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And thank you very much for watching.